Hi, brothers and sisters. Let's talk about the World War II. Why did the World War II happen? Who instigated it? The Rockefellers set the stage for World War II in Japan. In 1929, when the financial crash came, and the banks collected 9/10 of all the personal property on default mortgages. The people, Nelson Rockefellers and David Rockefeller, which was Nelson Rockefeller was named after the Senator Nelson Aldrich. These two, they served as an assistant to the Chase Manhattan Bank and its various interests. These people assisted in setting up that which is known as the Pacific Institute of Research in Japan. This Pacific Institute was used to create certain political influence in Japan, which helped to polarize the Japan interest against the interest of the United States, and therefore set the stage for World War II in the Pacific. With the assistance of the President Roosevelt, who was the leader of the Illuminati at that time. He was not being aware what was occurring behind the scenes. He was used as a puppet for these people. John Rockefeller's empire was built by him and were financed after the Civil War by the European powers of the Rothschilds, and these forces were allowed to grow and build an empire during the World War II, which became the most powerful banking and financial interest in the entire world. The Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, they sold war machines to Russia after the Civil War, and they set the relatives in the government positions to be in power. After the World War II had been completed, the Rockefellers assisted in selling all the war machinery to Russia and China to allow these nations to build up their industrial war machines and to industrialize to a high capacity in order that they may become a greater power. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds arranged the sale of the war machines, and the Rockefellers assisted that. Being the Rothschilds, being in control with Russia and China and the communist forces of China. Rockefeller began to gain greater control over the United States government. Alan Dulles, D-U-L-E-S, being Rockefeller's cousin, was put in charge of the CIA. And then John Foster Dulles, D-U-L-L-E-S, was another cousin of the Rockefellers, was the Secretary of State. So they are in power to create this war. So then, after that, they used another president, which was President Kennedy, to set the stage for Vietnam War. The movement towards the greater power of the United States being controlled by the banking system and the usurping of power from the hands of the people. The power of the government being taken away from the people. This government was the secret government, which controlled the United States of America from the time of the World War II up to this present. The Cold War then was being put but a chess game between these two people, manipulated between the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers as a kind of being just a game to lead the world government. The competition between these two people, their banking interest, the war for them was just a game, but their competition was real, which remind us with the movie Trading Places. It was just like that. This movie was directed by Aaron Russell. So he was killed by the Illuminati. So everything was just a game. These two entities respect each other, but they create war and lives lost. Doesn't mean a thing for them. It is just a game for them. It was just a financial game. We are being used. The war in Vietnam, they used Kennedy due to the desire of the Rothschilds to have greater control of the Southeast Asia. It was relating to the Golden Triangle area. It was a part of an effort to use the military supplies of United States of America also, and to cost more money to bankrupt the US. Great Britain was bankrupted before by the Spanish War in the 18th century. So the Rothschilds' plan was for the New World Order to be implemented to bankrupt all countries and to turn them into satellites by foreclosing on the bankrupt countries. Things happening behind the scenes that could prevent these people from doing the roles. Yet, there's nothing simple or easy about the struggle that is already occurring. It was a kind of covert war all over the globe as to who is going to be free and who is going to be in control of the masses, whether they eventually will awaken enough to throw off the oppressors, or whether they will cuddle up to the oppressors, hoping to seduce them into being nice to their slaves. These Illuminati are the ones in control all over the world. It is don't forget that the Illuminati was controlled by the Red Dragon. Remember that snake brotherhood that I spoke about, that they divided into Red Dragon and the Yellow Dragon. The Yellow Dragons were the good guys, the Illuminara, and the Red Dragon were the Illuminati. Everything was just a game. So I'm just giving some information here to give you the history of our wars that were just created, but not to be angry and find the revenge, but to find the wisdom within us. It is just a game. I know it hurts when it's your family member being killed during that war, but my mission is to just shine the lights on both sides, that all our sufferings here was played out, and these families played good guys and bad guys, but then they were totally taken over by the dark energies. And the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds were victims of this system. So it's hard to be in that position, and I don't want to be in that position. So it is tough. It is tough to be the player on this game that we are playing. Now it is time to take our power back. Now that we are awakened, we can decide that this game is totally over. That we fire all the dark forces, the dark energies that's manipulating all of us. It is painful, but we have to understand, and my mission is just to let you see what's going on both sides, their agenda. Now that we know, it is up for you to absorb it. Absorb it, assimilate it, find in your heart if you could find the wisdom, and able to forgive. I know it's tough, but this is our big test. If we could forgive, could we execute that compassion, the unconditional love? It is up to you, brothers and sisters. I find my wisdom, and I don't use my energy in using it as a revenge or be a revolutionary fighter. I don't want to use that. I find the wisdom and I could forgive. I have to declare, I told them, all negative energies, you are all fired in my domain. You are not welcome. Everyone is fired. No one is allowed to manipulate me anymore. That's what I do. I love you all, brothers and sisters.